I've been with Rupert for 3 years now, and I'm starting to feel like we're stuck in a never-ending loop of dullness. I'm 25, he's 29, and we live together in a small apartment in the city. I work as a graphic designer for a local marketing firm, and Rupert's a software developer at a tech startup. We met through mutual friends at a house party, and it was one of those instant connections you hear about but rarely experience. I remember that night so vividly. Rupert was standing in the corner, nursing a beer and looking a bit out of place. I was drawn to his quiet demeanor and the way his eyes lit up when he talked about his latest coding project. We spent hours chatting about everything from our favorite books to our dreams for the future. By the end of the night, I felt like I'd known him for years. Our first year together was magical. We were constantly trying new things: salsa dancing classes, weekend hiking trips, spontaneous road trips to nearby towns. Rupert was always up for an adventure, and I loved how he pushed me out of my comfort zone. I still smile when I think about the time we got lost on a trail and ended up camping under the stars because we couldn't find our way back before nightfall. But somewhere along the way, things changed. It happened so gradually that I didn't notice at first. Rupert started working longer hours as his startup grew. I got busier with my job and decided to pursue a part-time master's degree in digital media. Slowly but surely, our exciting outings were replaced by nights in front of the TV. Now, it feels like pulling teeth to get Rupert to do anything outside the apartment. The last time we went on a proper date was over 2 months ago, and even then, it was only because I planned the whole thing myself. I made reservations at this cute little Italian place that had just opened up, bought tickets to an indie film festival, the works. Rupert seemed to enjoy it at the time, but he hasn't made any effort to plan anything since. Most of our evenings now follow the same mind-numbing routine. We both get home from work, Rupert immediately plops down on the couch to play video games, and I end up scrolling on my phone or half-heartedly watching whatever's on Netflix. Sometimes we'll cook dinner together, but more often than not, we just order delivery. It's gotten to the point where I dread our days off together, because I know we'll just be sitting around the apartment all day. I've tried talking to Rupert about this multiple times. I've explained that going on regular dates is important to me. Even just once a month would make a huge difference. But every time I bring it up, he has an excuse. He's too tired. From work, he needs to save money, he just wants to relax at home. I've even tried suggesting spontaneous outings, like grabbing drinks at this cool new speakeasy that opened up in our neighborhood or checking out the farmer's market on Saturday mornings. But Rupert always groans and says he needs to mentally prepare for going out. By the time he feels ready, the day is half over and I've lost my enthusiasm. The thing is, I know Rupert isn't completely averse to socializing. He has no problem making plans with his friends for game nights or going to sports bars to watch football. But when it comes to spending quality time with me, he's suddenly too tired or broke. I feel like I'm going crazy. Am I asking for too much by wanting one real date a month? I don't need anything fancy or expensive. I'd be happy with a picnic in the park or even just a long walk around a new neighborhood. I just want to feel like Rupert is making an effort to spend time with me and create memories together. To make matters worse, all of my close friends have moved away over the past year for various job opportunities. My best friend Sarah, who I've known since high school, got a fantastic job offer in Seattle. Another close friend, Mike, moved to New York to pursue his dream of becoming a Broadway actor. And my college roommate, Lisa, is now teaching English in Japan. My family lives several hours away in a small town where I grew up. I try to visit when I can, but between work and grad school, those trips are few and far between. I miss the Sunday dinners with my parents and siblings, the easy laughter and inside jokes that come from years of shared history. I'm in grad school part-time on top of working full-time, so between work and classes, I don't have much of a social life outside of Rupert. Most days, I'm rushing from the office to evening classes, grabbing quick dinners between lectures and group projects. By the time I get home, I'm exhausted, but I still crave that connection with Rupert. I love Rupert, and when things are good between us, they're really good. He can be incredibly sweet and supportive. I remember when I was stressing out about a big project at work, he surprised me by cleaning the entire apartment and making my favorite dinner. He always remembers important dates like my birthday and our anniversary. He'll bring me little gifts or my favorite snacks when he knows I've had a rough day. But I'm starting to wonder if that's enough. I miss the Rupert who was excited to try new restaurants with me, who would surprise me with tickets to concerts or art exhibits. I miss feeling like we were partners in adventure, not just roommates who occasionally have sex. I've tried explaining to Rupert how important quality time and shared experiences are to me. I've told him that I feel loved and appreciated when he makes an effort to plan dates or outings for us. But he doesn't seem to get it. He thinks buying me flowers once in a while or cuddling on the couch should be enough. Last week, I hit a breaking point. Rupert had promised we'd go out on Saturday, said he'd planned something special. I was so excited I even bought a new dress for the occasion. Saturday morning came, and Rupert was still in bed at noon. When he finally got up, he said he wasn't feeling well and just wanted to stay in. I was disappointed, but tried to be understanding. Then his friend called and invited him to a last-minute game night. Suddenly, Rupert was feeling well enough to go out. He asked if I wanted to come along, but I was so hurt and angry that I just told him to go without me. I spent the night alone in our apartment, fighting back tears and wondering how we'd gotten to this point. I'm at a loss for what to do next. I love Rupert, and I know he loves me. But is love enough when you feel like you're living parallel lives instead of building a life together? Am I being unreasonable here? Should I just accept that this is how our relationship is going to be? Or is this a sign of a deeper incompatibility? I don't want to give up on us, but I also don't want to spend the rest of my life feeling lonely in my own relationship. Any advice would be appreciated. Edit. Wow, I wasn't expecting this post to blow up like it did. Thank you all for the advice and support. To clarify a few things, Rupert and I have similar incomes, so money isn't really the issue here. We could easily afford to go out once a month if we cut back on takeout and video game purchases. Rupert doesn't have any diagnosed mental health issues that I'm aware of. He's generally a happy, laid-back guy. He just prefers staying home to going out. I've suggested plenty of free or low-cost date ideas, but Rupert shoots them down too. It's not about the money, it's about the effort. I'm going to have one more serious talk with Rupert about this. If things don't improve, I'll have to seriously reconsider our relationship. Thanks again, everyone. Update 1. It's been about a month since my original post, and a lot has happened. I want to thank everyone for their advice and support. It really helped me gain perspective on my situation. After reading through all the comments, I realized I needed to have a serious, no-holds-barred conversation with Rupert. I decided to plan it carefully. I chose a Saturday morning when we were both off work and well-rested. I even made his favorite breakfast, blueberry pancakes with real maple syrup, hoping it would put him in a receptive mood. As we sat at our tiny kitchen table, the morning sunlight streaming through the window, I laid it all out. How neglected and unappreciated I felt, how important quality time and shared experiences are to me, and how his lack of effort was affecting my feelings for him. I told him about the night he went to the game night after canceling our plans, how hurt and angry I felt. At first, Rupert got defensive. He started listing off all the things he does for me, and how he shows his love in other ways. I work hard to provide for us, he said. I always remember your birthday and our anniversary. Isn't that enough? But I stood my ground. I explained that while I appreciate those things, they're not enough for me to feel fulfilled in our relationship. I reminded him of how we used to be. The adventures we had, the excitement we felt just being together. What happened to that Rupert? I asked. The one who was always up for trying new things with me? After a lot of back and forth, Rupert finally admitted that he's been feeling insecure lately. Apparently, he's been struggling at work. There's been talk of layoffs, and he's worried he might lose his job. The startup he works for has been having financial difficulties, and the stress has been eating away at him. He confessed that he's been retreating into video games as a way to escape his stress and anxiety. When I'm gaming, he said, I don't have to think about work or bills or any of that stuff. I can just be someone else for a while. I was shocked. Rupert had never mentioned any of this to me before. When I asked why he didn't tell me, he said he was embarrassed and didn't want me to think less of him. He also confessed that he sometimes feels intimidated by my outgoing nature and worries that I'll realize I can do better than him. You're always so confident, he said. You make friends easily. You're doing great at work and in grad school. Sometimes I feel like I'm holding you back. This revelation changed everything. Suddenly, Rupert's behavior made a lot more sense. We spent hours talking that day, really opening up to each other in a way we hadn't in a long time. I shared my own insecurities. How I sometimes feel lonely and isolated since all my friends moved away. How I worry that I'm not good enough for my grad program. It was like a dam had broken. All the things we'd been holding back came pouring out. We laughed, we cried, we held each other. For the first time in months, I felt truly connected to Rupert again. After our talk, Rupert promised to make more of an effort. He agreed to therapy to work on his anxiety and communication issues. And true to his word, he's been trying. Last week, he surprised me with a picnic in the park. It wasn't anything fancy, just some sandwiches and fruit he packed himself. But the effort meant the world to me. We've also started having a weekly date night where we take turns planning an activity. Sometimes it's as simple as trying a new recipe together or having a game night. Other times we'll go out to explore a new part of the city. Last week, Rupert found this quirky little museum of oddities that we spent hours exploring, laughing at the weird exhibits and making up stories about them. We've also been working on our individual issues. Rupert has had a few therapy sessions, and he says it's helping him manage his work stress better. He's even started looking for a new job, one that might be less stressful and more stable. For my part, I've been making an effort to build a social life outside of our relationship. I joined a book club that meets monthly at a local cafe. It's been nice to have intellectual discussions about something other than work or school, and I'm slowly starting to form friendships with some of the other members. Things aren't perfect. Rupert still has moments where he retreats into himself, and I'm still working on being patient and understanding. But I feel like we're moving in the right direction. We're communicating better, and I can see Rupert really trying to meet my needs. One unexpected outcome of all this is that I've started reconnecting with old friends. Realizing how isolated I'd become was a wake-up call. I've reached out to some college friends who live in nearby cities, and we're planning a girls' weekend next month. Rupert was surprisingly supportive of this idea, even offering to help me plan some activities for when my friends visit. I know we still have a lot of work to do, but for the first time in a long time, I feel hopeful about our relationship. Rupert is making a real effort, and I can see how much he cares. We're both learning to be more open and honest with each other, and it's making a big difference. Thank you all again for your advice and support. It really made a difference. I'll keep you updated on how things go. Update 2. I wish I had better news to share, but things have taken a turn for the worse. It's been about 3 months since my last update, and I'm sad to say that Rupert and I have broken up. At first, things seemed to be improving. Rupert was making an effort to plan dates and spend quality time together. He started seeing a therapist to work on his anxiety and communication issues. For a while, I really thought we were going to make it. We had some great moments during this time. I remember one weekend when Rupert surprised me with a day trip to a nearby town known for its antique shops and art galleries. We spent hours browsing dusty shelves, laughing at weird old knickknacks, and even bought a quirky little painting for our apartment. It felt like old times, and I was so happy. But as time went on, Rupert started slipping back into old habits. The date nights became less frequent, and when we did have them, it felt like Rupert was just going through the motions. He'd plan something, but he'd be distracted and disengaged the whole time. I tried to be patient and understanding. I know change doesn't happen overnight, and I wanted to give Rupert the time and space he needed to work on himself. But it became clear that he wasn't really committed to making lasting changes. The breaking point came about 2 weeks ago. There was an art exhibit I'd been excited about for months, a retrospective of my favorite contemporary artist. I'd been talking about it for weeks, and Rupert knew how much it meant to me. He had promised to take me, even bought tickets in advance. The day of the exhibit, Rupert texted me saying he wasn't feeling well and wanted to stay home. I was disappointed but understanding. If he was sick, he was sick. I decided to go to the exhibit alone, not wanting to miss it. But then, as I was leaving the gallery, I saw something that made my heart drop. Rupert was across the street, laughing and joking with his friends as they entered a sports bar. When I confronted him about it later, he got defensive and accused me of spying on him. We had a huge fight, and all the issues we'd been trying to work on came rushing back to the surface. Rupert admitted that he resented the pressure he felt to constantly plan dates and go out. He said he felt like he couldn't be himself around me anymore, that he was always walking on eggshells trying to meet my expectations. "I'm tired of pretending to be someone I'm not," he said. "I like staying home. I like playing video games. Why isn't that enough?" Hearing that was like a punch to the gut. I realized that despite all our talks and promises to change, we were fundamentally incompatible. Rupert wants a partner who's content with a quiet, home-centered life. I need someone who shares my love of exploration and new experiences. We talked for hours that night, crying and reminiscing about the good times we'd shared. We talked about our first date, the camping trip where we got lost, all the plans we'd made for the future. But in the end, we both agreed that it was best to end things now before we grew to resent each other even more. The past 2 weeks have been really tough. Moving out and dividing our shared belongings was heartbreaking. Every little thing brought back memories. The coffee maker we bought together, the silly magnets on the fridge from our trips, even the worn-out welcome mat by the door. I'm staying with a friend from my book club for now, trying to figure out my next steps. The hardest part is the silence. I keep expecting to hear Rupert's laugh or the sound of his keyboard clacking as he works. The emptiness is deafening, but despite the pain, I know in my heart that it's the right decision for both of us. We were holding each other back, trying to force a relationship that just wasn't meant to be. I'm trying to focus on the positives. The girls' weekend I mentioned in my last update was amazing, and it reminded me how much I'd been missing having close friendships. I'm throwing myself into my grad school work and picking up some old hobbies I'd let fall by the wayside. Yesterday, I dug out my old sketchbook and spent hours drawing, something I used to love but had given up when life got busy. It felt good to create something just for myself, without worrying about anyone else's expectations. It hurts right now, but I'm hopeful for the future. I know now what I need in a partner, and I won't settle for less again. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. I'll update again when I'm in a better place. Update 3. It's been 6 months since my breakup with Rupert, and I wanted to share a final update. A lot has changed, and I'm in a much better place now. After the breakup, I threw myself into self-improvement. I finished my grad school program, graduating with honors. My final project even won an award at the department showcase. It felt good to accomplish something I had worked so hard for, especially after everything that had happened with Rupert. I also landed a great new job at a design agency. It's challenging work, but I love the creative environment and the opportunity to collaborate with other artists and designers. My colleagues are fantastic, and for the first time in a long time, I feel like I'm part of a community again. In an effort to get out of my comfort zone and meet new people, I started volunteering at a local animal shelter on weekends. It's been incredibly rewarding. There's something about spending time with animals that just lifts your spirits. Plus, I've met some wonderful people there who share my love for animals. I've also renewed old friendships and made new ones through a hiking group I joined. We go on weekend trips to nearby trails, and it's been amazing to explore the natural beauty around our city. Last month, we did an overnight camping trip, and sitting around the campfire with my new friends, sharing stories and roasting marshmallows, I felt a sense of belonging I hadn't experienced in years. About 2 months ago, I met someone new. His name is Alex, and we met at a pottery class I signed up for on a whim. He's creative, adventurous, and shares my love of trying new things. We've been on some amazing dates, from kayaking to attending local theater productions to trying out weird fusion restaurants. The best part is, I don't have to beg or plead for quality time with Alex. He's just as excited about planning outings as I am. Last week, he surprised me with tickets to an outdoor concert in the park. We packed a picnic, brought a blanket, and spent the evening listening to music under the stars. It was simple but perfect. We're taking things slow, but I'm excited about where this could go. Alex and I have talked about our past relationships and what we're looking for in a partner. We both value open communication and shared experiences, which feels like a breath of fresh air after my relationship with Rupert. Looking back, I can see how much I compromised my own happiness trying to make things work with Rupert. I don't regret our time together. I learned a lot about myself and what I need in a relationship. But I'm glad I had the courage to walk away when it became clear we weren't right for each other. I still have moments of sadness when I think about Rupert and what might have been. But those moments are becoming fewer and farther between. Instead, I'm focused on building a life that makes me happy, with or without a partner. My apartment is finally starting to feel like home. I've filled it with plants, art I love, and mementos from my recent adventures. It's a space that reflects who I am and what I value. I'm excited for this new chapter in my life. I feel more confident, more self-aware, and more open to whatever the future might bring. Thank you all for your support throughout this journey. Your advice and encouragement helped me more than you know. To anyone out there in a similar situation, don't be afraid to ask for what you need in a relationship. You deserve to be with someone who makes you feel loved and appreciated in the ways that matter to you. And sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is walk away from something that's no longer serving you. It might hurt in the short term, but it opens you up to new possibilities and growth. I don't know what the future holds, but for the first time in a long time, I'm excited to find out. Here's to new beginnings and living life on our own terms.